Hi there, and welcome to Market Call. I'm Paul Bagnall. Thanks for joining us today. Kim Bolton's on the show today. He, of course, is president and portfolio manager at Black Swan Dexteritas, and more importantly, an expert in the tech stocks. So he'll take your questions on tech stocks. Pick up your phone and give us a call right now. The number is 1-855-326-6266. You can also email us at marketcall@bnnbloomberg.ca. Kim Bolton, thanks so much for joining us, first of all.
Thanks, Paul.
Tech stocks have once again led the market higher. You say in some recent commentary that the AI trade is becoming a bit of a crowded trade. So what is your take on valuations right now among the what we might call the main line, the most prominent tech stocks, AI stocks?
Yeah, it almost sounds like a disclaimer, but I think, you know, it is a very crowded trade, but for very, very good reason. So, yeah, and you'll see it as we go through the program that things are certainly within 5 to 10% of price target, which means it's probably a good time, maybe not to sell it, but you could sell some calls against this and make some income against, certainly against the Mag 7, which account for, my goodness, over 40% of the market cap of the S&P 500 at this point. But there still are some pockets around. It's one area that we really like, and there seems to be a movement toward this edge AI. You know, everyone's talked over the years, well, last couple of years, about the build out of the data centers and the hyperscalers with the cloud and so on. But there certainly is a trend toward edge computing, you know, getting it closer to the devices that are out there. And you can do it these days with the computational power of the chips that can actually go into, you know, phones and Internet of Things. So I think you're going to see some legs that come out of that.
How big is the publicly traded sector in edge AI?
It's massive, because if you just think of all the devices that are out there outside of sort of the desktops and everything, you know, it's all the way from the smartphones to the iPads, and then going on to the factory floors.
Right. I mean stocks. What's the universe of stocks out there that could be called edge AI specialists?
I would say pretty well every generative AI stock out there has a considerable business in edge AI.
Okay. What did you think of the news that drove a couple of the big names higher today, and that was earlier this week, and that's the U.S. reversing itself, at least partially, on sales of high-end AI chips to China? We saw AMD and we saw NVIDIA move higher still on that news.
With the H20 chips.
Correct.
And you know, it's not the state of the art, it's not the Blackwell, but it's the next best thing. And heck, the H20 chips a year ago were the cat's meow. So and that's why NVIDIA popped up, you know, another 4% yesterday. So it just gives more legs to, you know, this whole AI revolution that is going on out there, and you know, China is such a massive market. I was surprised pleasantly, because we're pretty overweighted in the AI ecosystem.
That's Kim Bolton. Those are his early thoughts. We will be back with Kim after this. He's with Black Swan Dexteritas to take your questions on technology stocks. So here's the contact information once again. Pick up your phone and give us a call, or send us an email at marketcall@bnnbloomberg.ca. Okay, let's start the questions coming to Kim Bolton. Your questions on tech stocks. Here comes a email question from our viewer, Galen. Galen writes as follows. Hi, Kim. What's your target price for ANET? Have your funds owned it? ANET. Remind us what that company name is. That's the ticker. What company
that's
name?
That's Arista. That's the competitor to Cisco for all the networking and routers and so on. Although they sort of have carved out a nice niche with their proprietary product on the networking side, which is called EOS, or Extensible Operating System, which basically sort of works around Ethernet and for the networking. And as soon as they came out with the chips from NVIDIA and AMD and so on, then they had to get the switches and the routers and the networking stuff. And this is where the likes of Arista, Cisco, Dell, and so on, and Celestica that made a lot of hay out of it. So currently trading at 206. We actually bought some more this morning. Now we only have a 112 price target. But we've built up a position, certainly in the funds, right around that sort of 3.5%. So we look to sort of add to it and definitely add to it on the way down. So Galen, great question, and I would suggest that pick it up here if you can get it down sort of around, add another third down around 101 and then down around 95 to 96.
Okay. Thanks, Galen, for your question. To kick off today's market call, let's go to the phones now. John is on the line from London. Hi, John.
Hello, Paul. The amiable Paul Bagnall. You shall be missed, my friend.
Thank
Happy
you.
retirement.
Thank you very much.
Mm-hmm.
Kim Bolton, you've given me nothing but good advice, and I own the Mag 7 and have done so long enough. I was encouraged by the fact, number one, they recovered well from the April pullback. Two of them are setting new highs. Number two, NVIDIA can sell chip number 2 to China again. 3 to 6 months down the road, which which Mag 7 stock do you think will be still leading the charge? Thanks very much.
John, great question. I would have to say the first one that comes to mind is Apple. And I'm going to talk about it on sort of on the top picks. But I think, everyone says that they've been slow in actually coming and sort of getting on the bandwagon with the generative AI and the agentic AI. But they own the device side, and that's where they're going to make a lot of money. And I'm sure they don't want to make any mistakes. And so I think you'll see in the next 6 months that they will come out with their AI offering. Well, they already have it on that AI intelligence, but you'll see them getting it onto all of the devices. And I think, a lot of people say the 12-month price target for Apple is sort of 225 to 230 US. But, myself, I wouldn't be surprised to see it up somewhere between 240 and 250 come this time next year, because then the AI offering will be in the marketplace. And I think it's going to do quite well.
Okay. Thanks for that question from John in London. Let's go to our second caller of the show, Michael in Vancouver. Michael, thank you so much for your call.
Paul, right back at you, and happy retirement. Been watching for a long time. Good luck with everything.
Thank you so much.
Kim, thanks so much for taking my call. Kim, I know that you've liked Microsoft in the past. Just a quick question: where would it rank in your Magnificent Seven? And just a balancing question, Kim, for example, if I owned 8 to 10% of Microsoft and it was your absolute favorite, would you still rebalance and bring it down to a more measurable 5 or 4%, or would you let it run? Thanks, fellas. Have yourselves a great day. Hang up and listen to your response.
Thanks, Michael.
Great question, Michael. Interestingly, we actually trimmed a bit on Microsoft yesterday. So currently trading at 505. We have a 12-month price target of 514, so it's pretty close. Likewise, like you, Michael, we had oh gosh, 7.5%, 8% weighting in Microsoft, certainly in the fund and in quite a few of our SMAs. And so we took a bit of profit, but Michael, we also write some calls. Sort of doubtful that you're going to have, I don't see anything as a catalyst until sort of the earnings come out. And you know, we won't be writing any calls over the earnings of Microsoft, but in advance, you know, you can write some short-dated calls, 1 week, maybe even 2-week calls on Microsoft and pick up some income in there.
Okay, thanks for that question. Let's go to James in Toronto. James, thanks for your call. What's your question to Kim?
Yeah, thanks for taking my call. Kim, I'm asking about NVIDIA. I mentioned a couple times already on the show, but what's your forecast? I mean, it's at all-time highs. Would you be adding to your position now, or perhaps taking some off the table, or doing some covered calls? Thanks. Great question.
NVIDIA. Well, we didn't take any profit on it yesterday. Remember, what is this, the 16th of July? It was only 3 months ago that you could actually pick up NVIDIA under $100. Isn't that amazing? So you just sort of have to remember it. Yes, this is probably a good place to actually write some calls against it. Most analysts out there have a 12-month price target on NVIDIA of around that sort of 175 level, so there's only about $5 left in it. However, I'm sure a lot of the analysts are going to come out over the next few days because of that H20 chip that is going over into China, that they're going to be upping their price targets and revenue and so on, and top and bottom line. So, you know, NVIDIA is going to be the king of the hill when it comes to the generative AI chips and the accelerators for a good long, at least 18 more months. AMD is catching up, but it should definitely be in your top 5, I think.
Okay. A great batch of first questions from our viewers to Kim Bolton. He is with Black Swan Dexteritas. He'll resume taking your questions on tech stocks right after this. Okay, let's go to the phones and keep the questions coming to Kim Bolton. Doug is in London, Ontario, and he's up next. Doug, thanks for your call.
Thank you. All the best in your retirement, Paul.
Thank you.
And Kim, I was wondering about Dye & Durham. With all the noise around this stock right now, I'm wondering, with the share price drop, would it be a smart buy right now, or would you stay away from it? Thanks. Bye.
Thank you very much for the question. It's, you know, we follow it mainly because some of our clients follow it. Honestly, we sort of recommend them to our clients that there are some better opportunities out there. But it's, you know, it's a very, very competitive business. Dye & Durham, you know, they service into the legal profession with software services, cloud-based software and technology solutions, also to the financial service side. It's very, very competitive, and amazingly, so you see it. It's trading at 940, but when you take the average weighted 12-month price target, the analysts out there still have a 12-month price target of $36.40. I don't get it, but the analysts, that's what they think. And I think that's what sort of lures people in. But I just think there are a lot more higher probability stocks.
Okay. Thanks for the question on Dye & Durham. It's a stock very much in the news and the subject of a lot of controversy as well. Keith from Sherwood, Alberta is next. Keith, Sherwood Park, Alberta, I should say. Keith, thanks for your call. What is your question to Kim Bolton?
Good morning. Thanks for your call. All the best to you, Paul, in your retirement.
Thank you.
Kim, my question regarding BTQ Technologies. I've got small positions in the and D-Wave, but I'm kind of want to tackle quantum from a different aspect, and they seem to be the CrowdStrike or want to be the CrowdStrike of quantum computing. Just like your feedback on them. Thank you very much.
Keith, great question. We had followed this sort of whole quantum computing side for quite a while. We found an opportunity to enter into BTQ and D-Wave, what was Ionic.
Yeah.
But we actually came across another one, which was quantum emotion. I forget the ticker on it, but it's quantum, and then small e, and then capital M for motion. And they're more on sort of the neuron side. Now, when it comes to BTQ, yes, where they hang their hat on is on the security side and the cryptography for applications in blockchain and related technologies and so on. We have, currently trading about 420. It's a pretty, it's a relatively small company. It's about half a billion, but we have a 12-month price target of $5, so it still has a good runway left.
That's BTQ?
Yes.
Okay. BTQ Technologies. Let's go to Tony from Aurelia. Tony, what is your question to Kim Bolton?
Well, first of all, I got to say I'm going to miss you, Paul, and congratulations on your retirement.
Thank you so much.
And anyway, Kim, I bought a couple of stocks that you've talked about in the past. One is D-Wave Quantum, and the other one being quantum computing. I bought small positions in both, basically just almost like a roll of the dice on maybe getting a multi-bagger in this. Anyway, do you still, I think you still like those stocks. Is there one you'd prefer over the other? Keeping in mind, I bought both. Just like to get your update on those two stocks. Thank you.
And I think thanks, Tony. I think the other one that I mentioned at that time, and I don't know if it was last month or the month before, but the other one was Ionic. And so those three, and actually we added to them at a higher price just the beginning of this week. They're pretty small positions. It's very, very difficult to actually put price targets on these things because I think it's actually D-Wave that is profitable versus Ionic and quantum computing. So you're sort of in the right place on D-Wave, but I'd take the three. It is, the market is always supposed to be forward-looking. However, for these quantum computing to be commercially viable and scalable, it's the better part of 3 years down the road. So that's why it's very difficult to put price targets on it. But I don't think you'll ever see us in either the fund or certainly in our separately managed accounts having more than like 1.5 or 2% in these kind of stocks.
Okay. Let's go to Steve in Parry Sound, Ontario. Steve, thanks for your call.
Hi, Kim. Good afternoon. I'm just wondering what you might think of the Lumen Group, and if you would rather hold Lumen Group or Topicus.
Good question. I would have to say Topicus, really. And mainly that's for geography. And so both of these, are spin-offs from Constellation. They both became, of a size that they could actually go off in their own, but the strings are actually pulled back at Constellation. But I would certainly sort of be more skewed, Steve, toward Topicus. The runway is a bit better, and the geography over in Europe, it seems to be still express some value.
Okay. That's the final question in this batch of questions. There are lots more questions coming through the course of this program. We'll take a break, and when we come back, we will take a look at Kim Bolton's past picks. time for Past Picks, where we take a look at a previous visit from our expert guests and take a look at their past picks. We're going back in time about a year exactly, July 24th of 2024, last summer. One of Kim Bolton's top picks on that day, Oshkosh, O-S-K, on the New York Stock Exchange. There are the numbers, recommended at about 108 US, now trading at about 123 US, total return 16%. Kim?
That's not bad. And we still own it. Yes, we still own it. So Oshkosh. Some people, like my wife, would say, "Oh, Oshkosh, bigosh, you know, it's the kids' clothing,"
right.
But it's far from it.
Right.
So Oshkosh, out of Wisconsin, and actually the clothing place is out of Wisconsin, but Oshkosh is involved in sort of access equipment. You know, they're a manufacturer of vehicles, basically. So they do access equipment like aerial work platforms. They do, if you see a fire truck going down the street of Toronto, pretty well assured that it's an Oshkosh fire truck. Big into defense, so they have a lot of tactical wheeled vehicles that they do for the Canadian government, Department of Defense, and certainly for the U.S. And then finally, the last one is in sort of the commercial side. They even do cement trucks. So currently trading, I think, right around that sort of 124.5 level. 12-month price target is $130, so it's getting pretty close. I think I would recommend that, you know, you could buy it here, but if you can get it under 120, it'd be a great price, and then sort of closer down to like a 110, 111, 112 would be a bargain. Okay.
Let's go to top pick number 2 on that day, not in terms of preference, but just in terms of the sequence that Kim presented them to us. L3Harris Technologies, LAHX in New York. Total return over that period of time, almost a year, 13%. Kim?
You know, this is a massive company, very much also, and I would imagine back when we did this on July 24th, you can sort of see the theme that it was a bit of a defense and security sort of theme that we had going. L3Harris has done well for us, currently trading just under 262. We have a 12-month price target of 272. Big company. It's got like 48,000 people around the world, headquarters out of Melbourne in Florida. One of the things about L3Harris that is very attractive to the Department of Defenses around the world is the customization that they can do for them, and also the quick delivery that they can do. So I would suggest, you know, if you could pick it up here, add another third down at around 250 and another third down at around sort of that 235.
Okay. That was number 2, L3Harris, and the final top pick on that day a year ago, Sentinel-1, S on the New York Stock Exchange. Here we have a different story, a negative return of 25%.
We actually made money on this, but it was sort of a short hold. Remember, Paul, it was like last summer, beginning of last summer. Remember when CrowdStrike had that software glitch?
Yep.
And then, so we had CrowdStrike, and we pivoted it over into Sentinel-1, but then took the profit. It got to target in the fall, but by then, CrowdStrike had already had a couple of quarters. And they were sort of coming back, and so we put our money back over into CrowdStrike.
Okay.
You know, the average analyst out there still has a 12-month price target of $23, so it does have a decent runway. What we really found with Sentinel-1, you know, they have this great security side that is called an Extended Detection and Response data stack, which you know, you sign up, not only do they find the bad guys and find out what they're using, but they have a toolkit that they can actually employ. And so when you sign the subscription agreement with Sentinel-1, you actually give them the go-ahead to actually come in and take care of the bad guys and repair it and everything. Like a lot of the other ones, they'll ask for the permission.
Okay. Those were Kim Bolton's past picks from a year earlier. We will just give you those names again. They were Oshkosh, L3 Harris Technologies, and Sentinel-1, a total return of 1% over that period of time because of that Sentinel-1 story. We'll be back with Kim Bolton right after this. He'll resume taking your questions on tech stocks in just a couple of minutes. Okay, let's get back to the questions to our guest, Kim Bolton, the tech stock expert. Gordon from Victoria is on the line. Gordon, thank you for your call.
Well, thank you, Paul, for your service to retail investors.
Thanks.
Enghouse, no debt, lots of free cash flow, just signed a major deal with a big Japanese company. Very out of favor. What do you think?
It's a good question. You know, obviously we'll follow it. I always sort of treat Enghouse as rather than an investment, more like a trade. And so right now, right around the 23.5 level, the average analyst out there has a $28.30 price target. So I would suggest if you own it here, it'd be a good idea to actually write some calls against it. But for us, we like to sort of buy it on dips and just sort of rent the stock for a while and make a bit of money.
Trading the stock rather than
investing it.
Okay. Thanks for the question on Enghouse. Let's go to Carl. He's here in Toronto. Carl, thank you for your call.
Hi, Paul. Thanks for taking my call, and I'd like to join in the chorus and wish you all the best in your retirement. And I think I've been watching you for all 24 years that you've been on. So anyway, all the best.
That's great.
Kim, it was a pleasure meeting you at last year's Toronto Money Show, and perhaps I'll see you again this September. But in the meantime, I'm calling about Well Health Technologies. You last spoke about it about 5 months ago. I think you had an 880 target at the time. Now, with all the market volatility we've had since then, the stock price has struggled until about 3 weeks ago, and now it has suddenly perked up finally, based on a number of notifications or news releases talking about a large number of new primary care patients, improved guidance, expanded credit facilities, and also talking about their subsidiary Wellstar. So now, 5 months later, I wonder how you feel about Well Health Technologies, that it finally looks like it's making the turn and heading upwards. Thank you very much. Cheers.
Thanks, Carl. Yes, I'll see you at the Money Show in September. Well, you said it very well, Carl. It sort of spikes on a few catalysts, and then it if there isn't a follow-through, it sort of comes off. And now that I say that, I wish we'd sort of treat Well Health more like what we treat Enghouse in sort of a tradable, but we are invested in it, not with big positions. But it was pleasant to actually see those deals that came through. You're right, Carl, that the average analyst out there has a 12-month price target of $8.70. So it has a good long runway. They have been building out certainly the whole clinical side of the business, and also the SaaS and technology side of it. And then, yeah, and they finally got to $1 billion of annualized revenue run rate just last year. So things are trucking along, but you nailed it. We need some more catalysts.
Okay, we've got about 5 minutes for 3 more questions. So Let's see if we can squeeze them in. Paul from Kitchener is our next caller. Paul, thanks a lot for calling.
Thank you very much for taking my call. First off, congratulations on your upcoming retirement.
Thank you very
I highly
much.
recommend it.
Great. Thanks a lot.
Kim, my question is, I've done really well with Apple, Amazon, and Microsoft, but what are your thoughts on Qualcomm? I'm thinking of lessening my position. Thank you very much for taking my call.
I'm just pulling it up. So it actually plays really nicely into this whole sort of edge AI side of things. But you're right, it sort of trades out of favor. And we talk a lot about this around our desk because it's surprising how it's sort of out of favor. They've tried a couple of times to do some acquisitions, and it's, remember, they were the guys that were going to buy NXP, the semiconductor, and then they were going to buy, sort of carve up Intel and so on. But they're still a major supplier into the smartphone market. We talk a lot about it because we'd like to buy it, but we constantly look for, the catalyst of why it's just sort of treading water. So we, like you, are waiting.
Okay. And we are going to squeeze in one more from Greg in Almont, Ontario. Greg, thanks a lot for your call.
And thank you, Paul, for taking it. I'd be remiss in not wishing you well in your retirement, and hope it involves a lot outdoors.
It will.
Kim, Marvel Technologies, as you're more than aware, I'm sure, it's had a real bumpy ride this year. It went down pretty significantly in April, and in the last few weeks it's been making a nice recovery, but it's not feeling the love today. It's getting hit, and you mentioned early on in today about AI on the edge, which it is, and if I'm not mistaken, a priority for Amazon. So I'd like your comments where you think it's going, and if you could also comment on this potential withholding tax doubling over the next few years. Are U.S. investments still going to be attractive? Thank you, and I'll hang up.
Boy, that was a mouthful. So, yes, Marvel, we own it. However, remember that Marvel is very much sort of in, it sort of has two sides. It has the memory side, but then it has also this thing called system on a chip architecture, which is very attractive to edge AI. The memory side makes it a bit of a cyclical stock based on supply and demand out there. However, we do own it, and the main reason for it is, here it sits at around just over 70, and we got a 12-month price target of $90.50. So in the tech arena, which may not be frothy, but it's not cheap. Here's a company that actually expresses some pretty good value.
Okay. That is the latest batch of questions to Kim Bolton. Thanks to all those questioners. We will be back with Kim Bolton to take more of your questions on Tech Stocks right after this break. Okay, let's see at least one final round of questions in to Kim Bolton. Ben is in Kingston, Ontario, and he's up next. Ben, thanks for your call.
Thank you for taking my call. My question is on AMD. And Kim, what is your price target on this for AMD? Is it going to still be hanging on to the coattails of cousin NVIDIA? What do you think? Thank you for your time, folks. Thank you.
Thanks, Ben.
Thanks, Ben. We don't own it. And we get a lot of questions about it. And, the price target is like right here. It's sort of between 155 and 160, the average analyst out there. And so it's just come a long way. But, you can probably say that about NVIDIA, but we still hold on to a considerable position on NVIDIA. All I know is that it must be a really interesting time at when they have holidays together, because Jensen Huang and what's her name? Who's the CEO? They're cousins.
The CEO of NVIDIA?
Of AMD.
Of AMD. Let me pull it for you. I don't know that off the top of my head.
So, in other words, I guess our preference would be NVIDIA.
CEO of AMD is Dr. Lisa Su.
Lisa Su, yes.
Lisa Su. There you go. There you go. I learned something. You knew it? I learned it. Okay, let's go to Rafi from North York, Ontario. Rafi, thanks a lot.
Hi, Paul. Thanks for taking my call. You'll be missed. I've been benefiting from your sage analysis and insights on BNN since before you shaved your head, so thank you. And
That's a long time ago. Thanks.
Moving forward.
Thanks.
Kim, I'm looking to add natural gas exposure to my portfolio that can benefit from the AI infrastructure build-out in the U.S. Can you please provide a recommendation in that space? Thank you so much, guys. Bye-bye.
So I take it you're looking for something sort of from a technology bent, playing within the sort of the natural gas resource side. The very first one that comes to mind is that Keysight, the measurement company, because I know they're actually involved in the measurement of the pipelines. They're huge in that. And I guess the other one that is interesting, only because we've been doing some work on it, is that Kraken Robotics out of Newfoundland. Like the Kraken has, it's been a six-bagger over the last 3 years on its stock price. Revenues have tripled over the last 3 years. Very much involved in underwater, but their technology is actually being taken into the field for both sort of the energy complex for gas and oil. So that might be an interesting play too.
Okay, let's get one more question in. Frida is one of our regulars. She's calling in from Chilliwack, BC. Frida, thank you for your call.
Hi there. I'm phoning regarding Shopify, and I see it's on a bit of a tear at the moment. Do you think it's a time to trim or hang in? Thank you.
Thanks, Frida. I wouldn't trim it because it still has a pretty decent, not a lot, but it's, we have a 12-month price target of 178. So you have another sort of $16 in here. I would look to trim it if it gets above 170. But in the meantime, I think mainly because of the volatility side of things, Frida, writing some calls on Shopify would be pretty lucrative.
Frida, thank you for your call. That's it for all the questions today. No more time for questions, but don't go away. Kim Bolton and his top picks in technology right around the corner. Please join us tomorrow on Market Call. David Burrows will be our guest. He's President and Chief Investment Strategist of Barometer Capital Management. He'll take your questions on North American large cap stocks. And if you miss an episode of Market Call, check out our daily podcast. You can find it on iHeartRadio and other prominent podcasting platforms. You can also watch full episodes of this program on our YouTube channel. Okay, time now for top picks from Kim Bolton. Number one, a very familiar name to tech investors, and a stock that has drifted sideways for a while now, Apple, AAPL.
I actually watched you yesterday with Gordon Reed.
Right.
And we already had picked Apple, and I know Gordon liked it. So good on you, Gordon. Actually, the reason we like it, and Gordon mentioned yesterday about, they had to buy something. They have to do something in the AI space. And there's a lot of rumors around about them buying Perplexity, but the CEO actually came out this morning and he just said, no, we're not for sale. However, because of that whole edge AI play out there, Apple, I think, is going to be really, really intriguing going into the September launch, and certainly into the launch at the end of the year for the Apple Intelligence, which is their AI, going into all their devices around the world. Yes, they're holding back on something, but they have these new chips that came out in the last Cupertino launch that they had a few weeks ago, and it's the Bionic chip series, and it's a lineup of like custom designed processors developed actually by Apple for all their devices, and they're well known for their high performance and their efficiency, but they also integrate CPUs, GPUs, but even the neural engine capabilities. So. As I mentioned before, most of the analysts have a 12-month price target of $225 to $230. I really think going into the end of the year and what they're going to do in the AI space, I wouldn't be surprised 12 months from now that you'll see it up around $240, $250.
Okay. Apple's number one. Number two, Cisco Systems, CSCO on the NASDAQ.
Yeah. This is another play in in sort of the whole edge AI. I know we're sort of short on time, but they recently came out with this thing called kinetic cities, kinetic for cities. And basically, it is an edge AI that you can put on sensors around a city. So for traffic, for water, for air, and everything. And so many cities, the poster child in this is actually Singapore. And that's where Cisco talks a lot about it. But, Cisco is sort of the king when it comes to the routers and the switchers and switchers and the network side of it. But the edge AI is something that I think is going to be very intriguing for them. We have a 12-month price target on Cisco up at sort of 75.5.
Okay. Texas Instruments is number three, TXN on the NASDAQ.
Texas Instruments has sort of two business lines. One is the analog, right? The analog devices, these are the chips that are programmed, goes into our fridges and TVs and everything. But then you have the generative AI chips that you can actually program. So Texas Instruments has the analog, but the big deal in the edge AI space is the embedded processors. And so the embedded processors, they're designed for various applications across all kinds of industries. And actually, Texas Instruments has the longest customer list of anyone in the semiconductor industry because of the analog and also the embedded. So currently trading at a 220. I could talk a lot about these guys, but the average analyst out there has a 12-month price target at 249.
Okay, those are Kim Bolton's top picks. Number one was Apple, not in terms of preference, but in terms of sequence. Two was Cisco Systems, and three was Texas Instruments. Kim, I want to thank you on behalf of our viewers for today's appearance. I also want to thank you for all the times that we spent at this desk together. This will be the last time, but I know we'll bump into each other sometime in the future. Thank you for all your contributions here on BNN Bloomberg.
Thanks, Paul. I'm never good at like goodbyes or anything. But I really appreciate you made me very comfortable. Whenever I come in here, I have butterflies and everything. But you have sort of that soothing side to it. And thank you very much. And not only soothing for the head and the stomach, but we've also shared things about our knees too. So thank you.
Kim Bolton, one of the greats here on BNN Bloomberg. Thank you, Kim. We will take a quick look at the markets before we go. Here's a look at North American markets. It's been an up and down day, and you can see major indices are up, at least modestly. That's interesting because they dipped fairly significantly into negative territory before market call began. They were down about 1/4 percentage point apiece. They're now up at least modestly thus far. Let's take a look at AMSL. That is a big chip equipment making stock. And it has pulled its guidance. This is Apple, Samuel, Mary, Larry, ASML. And that is one of the stocks that's moving today. It's moving down, and that's because the company has pulled that down by 9.5%. The company has pulled its earlier forecast that it sees sales growing for the rest of this year, and does cite tariff actions as one of the sources on the uncertainty in the markets. Let's check in on the price of crude oil as well. West Texas Intermediate crude. We had an expert on that guest earlier today during morning markets. WTI trading at 66.35. Thank you so much for watching Market Call. We'll see you right here tomorrow. In the meantime, trading day is getting underway with Andrew Bell right after this.